Hey beautiful people, what is up and welcome back to my channel and welcome to a Chatty Get Ready with me. I'm still working on the name of the series, so go ahead and drop that down in the comments if you have a suggestion. But we calling it that for now. Who knows what the title will actually be after I upload this. But anyways, let's get into it. So I'm getting ready to go to a little coffee shop that's like really close to where I live. I figured I'd work from there today. And I'm using the word work loosely because it's Saturday. So when I say work, I mean like edit my YouTube videos, which isn't really, well, it is work, but I'm not getting paid enough for it to call it work. So that's what I mean. So I thought I'd just do my makeup, go hang out at the cafe today, and yeah, I'm gonna bring you guys along so you can see what I'm putting on my face. I'm trying to keep this real simple, y'all, which as I say out loud, y'all are probably like, she is lying again. I be trying. Anyways, my plan is to try and keep this simple. I'm gonna go in with the Fighter palette from Fantasy Cosmetica because I've just been really enjoying this baby. So I'm gonna go ahead and go in with that today for this video. And we're just gonna dive in. I don't have any real topic for this. This is literally random thoughts from Jamila this morning. So yeah, let's just go. And I'm hoping that we get through more than just the eye look of me rambling. Anyways, if this is your first time joining me, welcome. I'd like to say that here on my channel, I like to focus on how to find high-end and luxury beauty products at bargain prices. And that's because I don't believe in paying full price to makeup. So if this is your first time watching me, this is kind of like what I like to focus on. I like to talk about sales, I like to talk about discounts, I like to talk about all the things related to saving money when it comes to makeup because the market is insane. I think prices are out of control when it comes to makeup for the most part, both not only just in the indie space or the luxury space, hell, even drugstore has lost its mind. So because of that, I like to, help people find the best ways to save money, let them know like my predictions when it comes to sales. So if you are interested in conversations around money and saving when it comes to makeup, but still being able to have a indie or luxury collection, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So that's what we do over here. And I do a lot of sort of first impressions videos when it comes to new releases and whatnot. Anyways, so I thought I'd give you guys a little bit of a life update to start. Because as you all know, I moved. If you haven't already done so, I do have a couple of Unpack With Me videos on the channel, just showing you guys how I'm unpacking my makeup. I still have a few more to upload, so hopefully I'll get those done at the cafe today. I just need to edit them, which is take a little bit of time because they're different style videos to me. Like, it's much easier for me to sit down and do a video like this where I'm just talking to you guys. This is Unpack With Me videos because you have to angle the camera and move it, and I don't have like the most professional setup. I have a little baby table tripod, and I do have other tripods as well, but moving the camera around to get the best angle was a little bit difficult. Plus, because I'm working with a very limited amount of room, I didn't exactly have enough space to be setting up a full filming setup, so that was just a little bit of a challenge. But yeah, go ahead and check out those videos if you want to see my collection. For the most part, I show you guys what I have. So in those videos, I show you guys what I have in my backup drawers, my skincare, my makeup. I try not to go too in depth into a lot of it because I know I have a ridiculous collection, and if I like spent all the time on each product, it would have just been doing too much. So it's kind of like a high level look at what does Jamila own. So if you're interested in seeing that, take a look. I also, in some ways, do show my setup. Like I said, I don't have a ton of room. This is just a 1-bedroom apartment, so my setup is in my bedroom. And with that, I have carved out a little itty bitty baby corner for my makeup station, which works for me. So if you also have a limited amount of space and you want to see how I store my products to maximize the amount of space, check that out. Anyways, back to the life updates. So I moved, and so many of you guys have reached out to me, asked me like, how was the move? How's everything going? How is unpacking? And thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I didn't think anybody cared. And it's not that I mean that in a weird way. Like, I just honestly, genuinely didn't think anybody cared. But so many of you guys have reached out to ask how I'm doing, how is everything going, and I really, really appreciate that. Thank you. So I haven't really talked about the move and the process of the move because it was just a lot happening at once. So just to give you guys a quick rundown, I moved in the middle of June, and it was a little bit of a chaos because about a week and a half before I moved, I got sick. And I mean like super duper sick. I was actually in DC for a work conference, and it was supposed to be a 2-day conference, and I had to leave the conference on the second day. I didn't even get a chance to go to it because I got so sick. Luckily, I was fine the first day, so I went to the first day of the conference. I presented, and it was okay. Everything was great. I wasn't feeling the best, but I actually chalked it up to the fact that the Northeast was really experiencing bad air quality because of the fires in Canada. So I was like, okay, that's probably why I don't feel the greatest. I was also really, really struggling with allergies. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know my journey this allergy season has been hard. So I was really struggling with allergies this entire season. So the allergies on top of the poor air quality, I was like, okay, this is why I can't breathe. I'm really having a hard time. Everything is terrible. And then the first night of that conference, I was in the hotel, and I wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, something's not right. So I went back to bed as best as I could, got up at 7, and was like, I'm going home. I didn't even bother to try to stay for the rest of the conference. I left, and I was like, I am going home because something's not right. I need to figure this out. Mind you, DC to Pennsylvania, Philadelphia area is like a 3-hour drive. So I drove that 3 hours, and I drove straight to urgent care. Like, I didn't even go home. My suitcase was still in my car. I drove straight to urgent care. Told them I wasn't feeling great. I had a super high fever. So they gave me some steroids and all that. And then after that, I drove home, and I like just laid down and passed out. Sidebar, I just got a ticket from DC for $200 because they said I was speeding, y'all. And I'm mad because I don't speed. Apparently the speed limit was 35 miles per hour, and I was going 47, and it was a work zone, so they doubled the speeding ticket. Y'all, I'm actually livid because I can't tell you the last time I got a ticket. I don't even remember the last time I got a ticket, but I digress. I just want to say I'm pissed about that because I'm an excellent driver. I don't speed. I'm not some sort of road rage warrior. One thing my mom used to tell me, and used to tell us all the time, is you can't be late twice. So once you're late, you're late. So she never condoned rushing because it was like, literally, you cannot be late twice. So I'm not I don't like get in my car and I'm like flying down the highway. So I don't know, but whatever. I'm gonna pay the little $200 ticket, but I'm gonna be mad about it. So screw you, DC. So anyways, like I was saying, I got super duper sick, so I came straight home after going to urgent care, and they gave me some steroids and whatnot. So I was like, okay, maybe this will pass in a couple of days. When I tell y'all, it did not. Because a few days later, I had to go back to urgent care because I was ready to cough up a lung. Like, I had the worst cough ever. I was still struggling to breathe. Again, the air quality was still bad, and allergies was, it was still allergy season, so there was still pollen everywhere. And I drove from DC to Philadelphia, and the air quality got progressively worse the further north you were. You all remember the pictures of like New York being orange. So me leaving DC was me leaving bad air quality to come to Philly, which was stupid bad air quality. So it definitely didn't get worse. It definitely didn't get better. So for a couple of days, I was struggling, went back to urgent care, got some additional meds that weren't really helpful, if I'm being quite honest. They did give me a nebulizer treatment. That did help. That was great, actually. But then they gave me some additional steroids, I believe. I think it was steroids. But something additional to take orally. And when I tell you I was loopy, I was like, absolutely not, because it was extremely drowsy. I'm also like really sensitive to like my allergy medicine anyway, which makes me stupid drowsy. So I was like, I have to work. And not only do I have to work, because quite frankly, my job is the most understanding. They were like, oh no, please take the time off. I even got kicked out of a meeting once during this time by my boss's boss, who's like, absolutely not. So they are really nice. Like, I absolutely love my job. They are so understanding of prioritizing health. But, you know, I wanted to work, because the longer that I stayed out, the work doesn't go away. It just gets pushed to another day. And then the work from the other day gets piled on top of that, you know? So I didn't want to not work. And I already had like a pretty significant amount of work that I needed to get done, because I had been traveling for work for the past like month. So I knew that this was just going to be a backlog. So it wasn't exactly like the work would disappear. It just means that I have to do it at a later time. But more importantly than work was I was moving. I knew I was moving. And I had about a week to finish packing. So I was really, really struggling, because I knew that I needed to pack, and I physically could not do anything about it. Now, granted, I had started packing several weeks before, because I knew that my travel schedule was going to be crazy. So in a lot of ways, I had packed a significant amount of things before getting sick. And I was really, really happy about that, because it definitely lightened the load for me in terms of I wasn't doing everything. I wasn't starting from scratch. I didn't leave everything to the last minute, because I had already packed a ton of stuff. But there was still more to go. And when I tell you guys I was sick, there would be days where I would get up and I would have a little burst of energy, and I would go take a shower, because I shower every morning. And that was it. That was all the energy I had that day, because I would get out of the shower, put on clothes, and I would be like exhausted and go right back to sleep, because that was all my body could handle that day, was me taking a shower and being clean. So for a couple of days, actually, borderline a full week, I was just immobilized. There was absolutely nothing I could do. I was just laying in bed, trying not to die, as I like to phrase it, because existing was a challenge. And that was the only thing that I could focus on, was how do I get through today? And, you know, it's one thing to be physically ill. It's another thing when mentally you are dealing with the fact that because you're physically ill, you're stressed because of all the things that you cannot do that you absolutely need to do. Because, again, I was moving in a couple of days. The movers were already hired. Everything was set to go. But also, like, my lease is expiring. So I got to get out of there. I can't exactly, like, just hang around until I feel better. So, I pushed through, because that's what we do. That's what women do. That's what Black women do, is you push through. You figure that shit out. So I pushed through. I packed everything up. Moving day came. My sisters came to help me move. And I didn't want them to come help me pack, mainly because I wanted, I knew how I wanted things packed. Also, I didn't know what was going on with me. And quite frankly, I did not want to infect them. I had taken 3 COVID tests at that point, at home and at the urgent care centers that I was at. And they all kept coming back as negative. They were all just like, no, you don't have COVID. No, you don't have COVID. I'm like, are you then what is this? Because I had all the symptoms of COVID, difficulty breathing, super high fever for days. And then when I lost my sense of smell, I was like, okay, this has to be COVID. What else is it? But they tested me for COVID. They tested me for strep. They tested me for pneumonia. I had a whole chest exam, everything. So, and they were like, nope, you don't have COVID. So, I was happy that I didn't have COVID. I didn't want it to be COVID. I wanted to know what it was. that didn't, you know, that's all I wanted to know. But because I didn't know what it was, I really, really didn't want to have anyone around me to potentially infect them. Why did I say potentially like that? Potentially. I didn't want anybody around me to potentially infect them so that they became sick. Like, nobody deserved to feel what I was feeling because it was rough. And this is coming from somebody who, I'm used to being sick. I am so used to getting sick. As a child, I would be sick every other day. I was just, like, sickness was such a normal part of life for me that I'm used to operating sick, you know? So this was just weird for me where I couldn't operate. Like, physically, my body was like, nope, no. You had a shower today. That's enough. Go sit down. So I had to do it myself. I could not risk bringing people to help me finish packing and them getting sick because of me. Like, absolutely not. That's just, I could never do that, you know? So I pushed through again, because that's what we do. That's what Black women do. And I finished packing, and then the movers came and they helped me move. I will say, those are the best movers I've ever hired. They were so sweet, so efficient, so professional. They got everything done so quickly. God bless them. And they even helped me move my Pat McGrath, and, well, not my Pat McGrath, but my eyeshadow palettes. Because one thing I did was I packed up my eyeshadow, and I was like, this baby is going in my car. And you don't realize how heavy eyeshadow is until you put it all in a box. So I had all my eyeshadow packed up. It was all in this box ready to go. And my sisters helped me put it in my car. And we actually split it between the three of our cars because I have that much makeup. So it was my car and my two sisters' cars that was filled with makeup. And it's because I'm like, I don't want them to damage it. I don't want the movers to damage it. So we actually drove it over to a new place in my car. And then they actually offloaded it for us. And they were so sweet. They were so gentle with it. So I was happy. Nothing was broken. It was perfect because, Lord, it was heavy. And the poor guys, they were like, you know, they're lifting heavy furniture, lifting my dresses and stuff, and they're fine. They had, you know, boxes with like kitchen stuff and everything, and, you know, that was fine. And then they started lifting the boxes from our cars, and they were like, what is in here? I'm like, eyeshadow palettes. And he's like, what? They couldn't understand how it was so heavy, and it was just so funny. But yeah, if you're looking for movers in the Philly, South Jersey area, let me know, because I 100% recommend them. Completely affordable, completely professional, great job. So there you have it. So the move worked out well, and quite frankly, I was still dead sick on the move. Like, so the entire time I had my mask on, I tried to stay away from everybody. The movers did all of the work because physically I just couldn't, I was hacking and coughing and whatnot. So the movers and my sisters helped so much with that move. And it was great. So where am I now? I am moved and unpacked, but not settled. And I hope that makes sense. So what do I mean by unpacked but not settled? So after we moved, after I moved, I had ordered some furniture, so it came about 2 days after. So that got set up, and then I started unpacking all of my stuff. So for the most part, things are out of boxes, and most things are put away, like my clothes, my kitchen stuff, all of those things I was able to pack away. I'm still waiting on some furniture. I still am waiting on my couch to get here, so I have to, they said 6 weeks from when I bought it, which I guess I have like about 2 weeks left. So hopefully that comes soon. But basically the entire living room is kind of out of order because I don't have a couch, which is, I think, important for setting up the living room. I need to put the books back in the bookshelf. And they're just like little odds and ends that I need to put away. I also have not hung any of my pictures, and I have not really set up any of my little decor pieces. So that's what I mean by I'm unpacked but not settled. I feel like I'll feel settled when I have all of my decor, everything hung, and everything is kind of in its place and not just, you know, it's where it's supposed to be and everything is pulled together nicely. So still some work to be done. Some of it I can't do until I have, again, my couch. But so far things are moving along, and you know, it's definitely slower than I would like, but I'm giving myself a lot of grace, you know? Part of why this unpacking and moving process has been a bit of a challenge for me is that because, okay, and these are the eyes, by the way, is because in addition to me moving, my work travel didn't stop. I think I moved, and then the week after that, I flew to California for another work meeting. So, you know, I'm trying to do all these things in between traveling for work, and I finally have a little bit of a break from travel, even though I have to travel at the end of this month again. But 2 weeks off, I'll take it. So I'm gonna go in with my Milk matte primer. This is actually a pretty decent matte primer. Is it the best one? I wouldn't say that, but I think it's pretty good. I think it's better than the One Size, just in case you were wondering. Anyways, so in conclusion to that part of the life update, I am moving along with the move, really happy here. It's definitely much more peaceful than the last complex that I was living in. If you follow me on Instagram, you know, it's just ghetto. I can't describe it any other way. Like, it used to be fine, and then I don't know what happened, man. Everything from drugs and constant fire alarm going off to domestic situations, and not just like partner domestic situations, like mother-son domestic situations, like all of that. And I was just like, no. First of all, it wasn't cheap to live there, and secondly, I can't live in that. I cannot, like, I work too hard to be in that kind of situation. And in addition to working too hard to be in that kind of environment, that environment is also where I work. So there would be times where I'd be like on a call and have to like move to different parts of the apartment because somebody's fighting with somebody else. And I'm like, I know the microphone is picking this up. And this is just, like, so unprofessional and so ghetto. Like, there's no other way to describe it. Like, I can't be on the phone talking to these very professional people. Like, I don't even know how to describe it, but the people that I talk to on a daily basis, I just can't be on the phone with them and have them hearing Deborah cussing out Jimmy. And I'm making names up here, but like, you know, so it was just a very uncomfortable situation. There were also like several times where, because there were individuals who chose to smoke weed in the hallway of the complex, and you know, this is like each apartment, each building has an external key, like an external door that you have to have a key to get into, and then there's a staircase, and there are 6 apartments in the building. So, you know, it's in some ways limited in terms of who can get in, but there were people who would, rather than smoke in their apartment or, you know, step outside the door and smoke, would smoke on the staircase, which would then set off the building alarm, which is very different from setting off your apartment smoke detector, you know? If the smoke detector in your apartment goes off, you can shut that off, because a lot of times mine would go off because of cooking, right? So it would go off just naturally, but you just take it off and you shut it off. But when the smoke detector is in the main hallway and it's for the building, when that goes off, we have no control over it. And I'm sure you've heard what a building fire alarm sounds like. It is shrilling. It doesn't gently wake you up out your sleep, which is not supposed to. It's a fire alarm. It is petrifying. It wakes you out your sleep. Your ears will ring for hours after you're done. And it would go off at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And you can't do anything about it except wait for the fire department to come to turn it off. So this happened like 3 times at like 3 a.m. It's cold as hell. And I couldn't do that anymore. Like, I really couldn't. I'm like, people have to work, you know? And when you are woken up out of your sleep at 3 a.m., and I know this is looking a little bit crazy, foundation color-wise, I get it. It'll be fine. Using the Bite Change Maker foundation. This is D150. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, when you've been woken up at 3 a.m. and you have to get up at like 7, like, your body doesn't naturally fall back to sleep in a peaceful manner. You've already been like jolted out of sleep. You're not falling back to sleep anytime soon. So the next day, you're a hot mess because you haven't slept well, because you were up at 3 a.m. because the fire department had to come and take off the building alarm. So yeah, it was just too much. It was very uncomfortable. And if it's one thing, you should be as comfortable in your own home. And if it's 2 things, you should be as comfortable where you work. And when where you work and where you live is the same place and you're uncomfortable in both, it's just not conducive to a good mental or physical health state. Like, there would be times that I would feel trapped in my apartment, that I couldn't leave because I just didn't want to deal with the people in my building or deal with the people in the complex. And that's not okay, you know? Especially not how much we paid to be there. Just no. Like, it was not a cheap building. Anyways, like I said, where I'm at now, definitely much better. It's so quiet, almost borderline oddly quiet, but I'm gonna take it. There's this little pit bull downstairs, well, not downstairs, a couple of buildings over, that I've decided is my friend now. I only see him a couple of times, and I'm assuming it's a him. But that's my little pit bull friend now. I see people in the morning or in the afternoon doing their walks around the complex, getting their little exercise in, and I absolutely love that. It's just so cute to see people just either walking to get their exercise in or walking their dogs around the complex. There is a gym on site as well, so they have that option. Haven't used the gym yet, but there is a gym on site. But I like seeing that people are like just super comfy walking their pets around. Like I said, just really quiet, really peaceful. The appliances are upgraded, so definitely the entire build is upgraded from where I was last time, which is really great. Lots of really huge windows and really great natural light. I am a plant, so I like being near sun, as close to sun as possible. So having that much natural light definitely makes me feel happy, because there are just so many huge windows and so much great light flowing in. So I'm really excited about that. There's also a pool here at this complex, which is great. I've only been once so far. I went after work and I just decided to lounge and sit there. I almost fell asleep for a little bit, truthfully. It was that peaceful. And it's actually really nice. Like, there were a couple kids there but they weren't like over the top. I'm not trying to, like, it's hard to lounge and relax when you have kids kind of like screaming and running all over the place. And from what I've seen when I've driven by the pool and it's been open, it's not utilized that much, which bodes well for me because it kind of gives the effect of an almost private pool experience most of the time. When I go there, there's like, well, when I drive past there's like barely any people there, so I definitely plan on utilizing that as much as possible this summer. So in terms of what's next for finalizing, like my setup here, like I said, I'm waiting on my couch. I also need to get some furniture because there is like a little patio area that I need to set up, so I have to figure out what I want to do there and how I want to use that space. I also have this really nice tree outside my window. You guys might hear it in this video, but there are several birds living in this tree. So they tweet all the time, and I don't know if you can hear it. Maybe. But I have decided to call all of them Phyllis. So all of the birds that live in that tree are now Phyllis, and they are all my birds. And I'm trying to figure out how to set up like a little bird feeder to feed them. They're like really tiny little birds. If you follow me on Instagram, you will see Phyllis's, Phili. So if you guys have any thoughts on bird feeding, let me know. Because I want to do that. But I also want to set it up in a way that I don't attract any other animals, because I'm not here for the rats. I'm not here for any rodents. So I just want to feed Phili, the Phyllises. So that's the plan. There's also a little squirrel that I've semi-adopted. His name is Charles. I don't know if he's a he, but his name is Charles. He like showed up at my bathroom window one day. I was just kind of like peeping through the window, and I was like, Charles, now you know that's creepy. So I have the Phyllises and Charles, and that is good enough for me. And then the pit bull Buddy downstairs. I keep saying downstairs, but he's not even like in this building. But yeah, so that's where we are with the move. You guys have any thoughts, suggestions about anything, let me know, especially about bird feeding. Definitely would love your help on that, or where to get like really good affordable like patio furniture. In terms of what's next, I am focusing on creating content again, because I was sick and traveling for weeks. I literally like didn't film for several weeks. I still had content going up, which I was really, really proud of. Like, I don't think I missed a week. I think I had at least one video go up a week. Like, it was definitely slower than my usual pace, but I'm glad that I was still able to put out something. So now that I'm getting like a little bit settled in, I really want to make sure that I can build up my content to the point where I have enough material kind of like backed up that it's just like ready to go, you know? I just want to have like a stockpile of content. So I have to figure out what that's going to look like, and also thinking about how to incorporate other things into my content besides, you know, new makeup, get ready with me's. Like, y'all know this is not a review channel, so it's never been, and this is my Dior bronzer, by the way. It's never been my intent, and it will never be my intent to just show you guys all the new stuff, because my budget and my wallet is not set up for that. So I am not trying to create the expectation that I'm going to be here buying and testing a bunch of new makeup. No, baby. I don't have the funds for that. And, you know, the world is pretty much back to normal operations. And I've said this previously, that for me, makeup is a hobby, but travel is my passion. Like, I will complain about how much I've been traveling lately, because it has been a lot on my body just physically, but I'm still get on a plane tomorrow if you told me I could. You see what I'm saying? So I would love to figure out how to incorporate that kind of content into my channel, and just kind of figure out what I want to do with this whole content creation thing. And this might be a topic for another day, because I realize that this video is getting long, but I do want to mention it while we're here. Is like, you know, the sense of feeling overwhelmed by all of these social media platforms. Like, I love YouTube. I think it's a great platform. I know some people are like, YouTube is dead. No one likes long form content. I don't believe that. I think that many of us are here for the long form content, especially because we don't constantly want to be bombarded with short videos, and you need the long form content to balance out those short videos. Like, those short videos are great for exposing you to something new, but then I think it's really important that you do or check out long form content to really dive into whether or not you want to dive deeper into that. Like, especially when it comes to beauty content, you might see something. I think short form content is great for swatches and like a quick like, hey, there's this new product on the market. But when you want to get like the nitty gritty of how this performs, also using this MAC blush, you got to get into the long form content. You got to figure out, you got to find a review that's going to tell you what this is. It can't just be like the TikTok that you rely on. At least that's my thoughts. But I will say, I don't have it in me to keep up with all of these platforms, you know? Like, I have YouTube, which I love. I have Instagram, which I also enjoy, but don't do a great job at being very consistent on there because it does take me a little bit longer to post things. Like, I take tons and tons of pictures of the looks that I do, and I typically wear makeup 4 to 5 times a week, and I always take pictures, but I never actually post them to my Instagram until like a week or two later. So I don't do a great job at keeping the content there flowing in a timely-ish manner, I would say. So that's a bit of a struggle of mine. So I have the YouTube, I have the Instagram, I don't have TikTok. I have no interest and no desire in downloading TikTok. I did get the Threads app, but why did I do that? I don't like Twitter. I had Twitter for all of maybe a hot second back in high school or secondary school when I was in Trinidad. And I realized I didn't like it, and I never actually got into the app. I feel like, and I still feel like this today, Twitter is a place for people to just dump their thoughts without thinking about it, and not everything you think needs to be said. Like, Twitter has like this no filter kind of design to it where people just say what they want, when they want, how they want, without thinking it through, really. It's just like word vomit, and I can't, that just doesn't work for me. It doesn't resonate with me. It's actually quite annoying in my opinion. It's like, you didn't need to say that. That could have stayed in your head. Like, what was the point? Like, not everything needs to be said. At least that's how I feel. Not everything needs to be said. You could have just kept that to yourself. So that's why I never got into Twitter. And now we have Threads, which is Twitter for Instagram, you know, like for Instagram. So it's the same vibe. I'm on it. I think I've posted maybe 4 times, and I don't like it. And apparently you can't delete Threads without deleting Instagram. So I'm shackled for life with this app that I don't want. I don't see Threads as a viable platform for me to build my content on, you know? It's just definitely not that kind of platform. So Threads is out the picture, TikTok is out the picture, like I said, YouTube, Instagram, and I am on Lemonade. And I actually really, really like Lemonade because it's more of a blogging platform than anything else. And I know a lot of people have issues with it. I've been kind of like, I scroll through it and I read some people's feedback, and I think a lot of people think that it is so aesthetically based, that it's one kind of aesthetic, but I don't find that. I find that it is kind of a journal, if you want to call it that. I think I see a lot of people using it as more of a journal than anything else. So unlike Threads, which is just like, I'm gonna blurt out one sentence, kind of like, here's how I feel in this moment, I feel like I see more people using it to kind of journal their experience one way or the other. So on it, there are a lot of like, here's what I do in a day, here's what I eat in a day. And I think people actually take the time to write captions, so it reads like a blog, in my opinion. And I actually kind of like that. I feel like I'm really appreciative of the fact that the content feels slightly more curated. And I think that's what people don't like about it. I know I've heard people say that, you know, this is too curated, blah, blah. I actually kind of like the curation of it because it feels like people put thought into their content. And you kind of have to put thought into your content because when I started using it, I realized it took me a significant amount of time to edit pictures and to edit like my my post, and it does take a lot of time. So it definitely is more curated, but I feel like that's more helpful in finding exactly what you want to look for. So we'll see how it continues to progress. It's a pretty new app to the US, so we'll see how it goes. And yeah, so far I have no issues with it. So far I like it. I really also like the pre-made templates that it comes with, because I'm not the best at editing like pictures and making it seem like the whole vibe, but they have a lot of really cool templates that make it look like you know what you're doing. So I kind of appreciate that feature of it as well. And like I said, I love the kind of diary feel of it, and it's like old school blogging vibe. So that's my thoughts on it. Anyways, so this look is pretty much done. Let me go ahead and throw some mascara on, and I'm gonna come back, show you guys the final look, and we're gonna get out of here, head to the cafe. It is 10:17. Ooh, it's late. I'm trying to get there quickly as possible, get settled, get some work done. Maybe I'll come back and go to the pool. But let me go throw on some mascara and I'll be right back. Okay guys, this is the final look, the final face. So this is the dress that I'm gonna be wearing. I know, not the best way to show you guys, but yeah, so that's it. Oops. So that's it guys. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing my Chatty get ready with me. I'm about to head out. It is about 10:30 now, so I'm gonna head out, go to the coffee shop, get some coffee, work for a couple hours. That's gonna be the plan. See how many videos I can get edited in that time. Before we go, I have to show you guys my earring, because it's a dinosaur. Isn't this the cutest thing? Like, wait, hold on. There we go. I'm obsessed. But yeah, that's it guys. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe on your way out if you haven't already done so. Leave a comment down below letting me know what you think, and also your suggestions for this series title. As always, I appreciate you guys so much more than you know, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye.